To give you some context, my daughter and I were in a severe car accident. We were T-boned at 90 miles per hour, spun in a complete circle, and ended up facing oncoming traffic. The woman who hit us had reached over to grab some food, and the impact was so forceful that it broke the rear axle of a suburban truck. It was a devastating hit. Unbeknownst to me and everyone else, I had suffered a traumatic brain injury. I developed dysautonomia, and there were days I genuinely felt like I was dying. One particular day, I was rushed to the hospital again. By then, I had been to that hospital about 40 times in just 2 or 3 months, yet no one could figure out what was wrong with me. Every time I arrived at the emergency room, the staff seemed indifferent, almost rolling their eyes, dismissing me as quickly as possible. I was fainting every time I stood up, bedridden, constantly dehydrated, and no one had any answers. 3 months after the accident, I found myself back in the emergency room once more. This time, something was different. I told them I felt like I was dying, and maybe because of the way I said it, they actually believed me. To my surprise, they admitted me. Having worked in the ER as a doctor, I knew what should have been happening, yet they wheeled me upstairs, left me in a room alone, no monitors, no nurse, nothing. Then, a priest walked in. He was dressed in black clergy wear with a white collar and carried a small glass jar of oil. He stepped to my right side, dipped his finger into the oil, and raised his hand to my forehead, making the sign of the cross. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, everything changed. I was moving down a dark tunnel. Around me, there was laughter, and large bubbles floated ahead, as if we were being carried somewhere joyful. It felt exciting, like we were heading to a wonderful place. Then suddenly, I was before a massive sun slightly to my left. It wasn't just a sun, it was God's presence. He radiated with a deep, powerful pulsation, like a heartbeat boom, boom. But there was no fear, no judgment, no recollection of sin. Just pure, overwhelming love. I wasn't just his child. I felt like I was his favorite child, the only one in the universe at that moment, with all of his attention focused on me. And he loved me just as I was. I wasn't in my physical body, but in a silhouette of myself, a spiritual form. My ankles and wrists dangled weightlessly, pointed downward towards space. Then, God's light hit my right leg and traveled up my body to my head. I remember wondering why my right leg first. My left was closer. How did the light bend? But almost as soon as I had the thought, I realized how foolish it was to question God. In this place, earthly logic didn't apply. Then I knew without a doubt that I would never cry again for all eternity. I was completely, utterly filled with joy. Any sadness I had ever known was gone, erased forever. The feeling was so deep, so absolute, that it suspended time. I thought, if only people on earth knew what I was feeling, they wouldn't grieve for me. They would miss me, yes, but they wouldn't be devastated. They would rejoice, if only they believed. Then God spoke to me not with words, but through an unspoken understanding. He said, "You can go up." To my right, I saw the stairway to heaven, just as so many people have described. A massive, glowing white staircase with wide handrails, ascending into a bright cloud. I followed his direction and floated to the top step. I hesitated. Again, he said, "You can go in." I wanted to, but I wasn't ready. I feared that if I didn't jump high enough into the cloud, I would fall back into space. Just as I was trying to decide, I saw my father running toward me inside the cloud. He was pitched forward, arms reaching, running at full speed. I could even smell his scent. I knew it was him. I knew there was immense joy waiting for me inside. But then I turned and saw Earth far in the distance. I asked God, if I go in, will I be able to go back to my daughter? And he answered no. Once you go in, you stay. At that moment, I felt ashamed, ungrateful, even because I didn't want to stay. My daughter was only 2. She was full of life, always chatting, and so beautiful that strangers in grocery stores would see her and decide they wanted another baby girl. I couldn't leave her. I started to bargain with God. I asked if all the good I had done in my life could be counted to let me go back, to watch her grow up. But I knew He already knew everything. Why was I pleading my case? Shame consumed me. I wanted to crawl into a hole to hide from Him. I closed my eyes, curled inward, and just waited for whatever came next. After what felt like a while, nothing happened. I slowly opened my eyes, and there I was, back in the hospital room. The priest was lifting his thumb from my forehead. The entire experience had happened in maybe 15 or 20 seconds, but it felt like half an hour. I didn't receive my healing for another 12 years. I spent over a decade bedridden, staring at the ceiling, praying constantly. I learned how to pray. I lived each day knowing I could die. Each morning, I listened to the birds and watched the sunrise, simply thanking God for letting me live through the night. Every evening, I prayed to make it through just one more day, and I promised myself I would get up. I would walk again. I would speak again. It took years. I had to relearn how to say the word the 6 rounds of speech therapy just to form my lips and tongue correctly. But I did it. I saw myself walking, talking, moving. Eventually, I inherited an entire medical practice and cared for thousands of pain patients. I helped those who had lost hope, those who were on the verge of giving up. In 3 years, I saw 2,500 patients, and not one of them died under my care. God brought me back for a reason. My daughter, now 21, is in nursing school. She witnessed her mother come back from death. She believes in miracles. I believe in miracles. I am a miracle.